Spider-Man No Way Home will be the third entry for Spidey in the MCU, and of course one of multiple appearances in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise that looks to continue beyond this trilogy alone and beyond his Avengers appearances and cameos. Now, why exactly did Sony agree to let Spider-Man join the MCU? Well, it's because Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige told them that their Spider-Man was awful. So reading the brand new Marvel Cinematic Universe book, which I am from now on going to refer to as my Bible because I love this thing, and every page I keep reading, I keep finding out more things that not many of us knew or we heard hints about, but didn't really have the full story. Well, it's in here, so I will cover a bunch of the interesting stuff because there's so much to talk about. One thing I found very interesting is Amy Pascal, who of course worked at Sony at the time before she decided to sign her current deal that's going to see her over at Universal Studios. Now, of course, Amy Pascal went hand in hand with Avi Arad, and they were calling the shots on The Amazing Spider-Man. In the book, it's revealed that when Marvel Studios was trying to make the Spider-Man deal happen, that Sony was not too keen on listening or agreeing or letting Spider-Man go. But it took about a week after the, I guess you can call it, offer was made by Marvel Studios to reboot Spider-Man for Amy Pascal to realize that maybe we need to reboot Spider-Man in the MCU and give it to Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige. And she reveals it's because when they had a meeting to discuss it and what was going on, Kevin Feige outright told her and Sony that their Spider-Man was terrible, that their ideas were terrible, that what they were trying to do was terrible, and that they should give them Spider-Man and a shot at it because Spider-Man belongs in the Marvel Universe. Obviously, it took her a week. They had to talk to the higher-ups. Then everything with Spider-Man and the Sony problems happened, and she realized this is the only way out. So she agreed to do it, and it's quite insane. It's an insane story, but she says it was the honesty of Kevin Feige. It's him just being brutally honest about The Amazing Spider-Man and them not listening to his advice on TASM 1 and 2 that ultimately doomed that franchise. And if you guys remember, we've known about that aspect for a while. When it came to Amazing Spider-Man 2 specifically, Feige sent them literally like PDFs worth of notes saying, don't do this, don't do that, people will hate this, they're gonna hate that. That's a terrible idea. Don't do the clone thing. Don't do the all villains are Oscorp. Don't do this. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to listen to you. This is going to work out better than the MCU. So it didn't. So when they invited him back, he was like, whatever ideas you got for TASM 3, they're all god awful. Don't do it. They were like, you know what? Fine. Take Spider-Man. Do what you will. And that's what led to the reboot and the MCU introduction of Spider-Man.